So I've been giving a lot of thought lately to what I would use for a ranking for Nintendo's home consoles. Um, my first one, of course, was the NES in 1990. I got that for Christmas. I've talked about that time and time again on this series. Then in 1991, I got my Super Nintendo. In 1996, I got my Nintendo 64, kind of by accident, and I think I've told that story, and I'll save that for a repeat episode. In 2001, I got my GameCube. In 2006, I got my Wii. I skipped the Wii U. And then in 2017, I picked up my Switch kind of as a present for myself for getting my first real job in education that particular year. So, in doing my rankings for these systems, something that I've been thinking about for a long time is where I would put the Wii. The Wii has kind of been moving up that ranking scale. There are a lot of people that will dismiss the Wii outright, thinking that there are too many shovelware games. It's full of lousy, family-based, cheap licensed games. But myself, I look at it fairly differently. And one of the reasons for that is because in 2006, when I tried the Wii for the first time, there was an experience that I had when I tried it out at a mall tour that was unlike any other video game that I had played. And it's something that stuck with me at that time that made me want one at launch. And it's something that has stuck with me through my Wii Renaissance when I started collecting games for the Wii again in 2015. And that game is the highest selling Wii game of all time. And the reason for that is because this game was included with pretty much every Wii for a long period of time. The reason that it's on this show is because I have a sealed copy of a Nintendo Selects version of the game. If you didn't get it via Nintendo Selects, you got it in this cardboard sleeve. And I really wanted a Wii version of the game that was just like the other Wii games that I have in my library. So what I have here is I have the Wii Selects version of Wii Sports. First released in 2006 for the Wii, this was re-released as Nintendo Selects in 2011. This game appealed to me because the bowling was awesome. I've talked before about my love of bowling, even though I'm not great at it anymore. Being able to bowl in this particular game, the way that the system picked up the subtle cracks of your wrist or twists of your wrist when you were throwing a ball, to me it felt just like I was on the bowling alley, and the ball would have that hook towards the 1-3 pocket like I had when I was bowling, even though I didn't have to work nearly as hard to make the ball hook like it did. Now, granted, the hook in this game is nowhere near what I can do in real life, where I can bend the ball in 15, 16, 17 boards. This is a more natural hook into the pocket, and it's something that you get over time, and something that I really appreciate. Now, of course, bowling isn't the only thing here. You have boxing, you have baseball, you have tennis, you have golf, which unfortunately I am terrible at because my swing always slices or hooks severely left or right. But this game is the game that hooked me on the Wii, that made me a Wii fan originally. Unfortunately, I gave the system up in 2011. I talked about that in the last episode, and as a system that I missed after I let it go. So being able to get it back in 2015, Wii Sports was a game that I wanted to be able to play. And I did have until I had a used copy until I picked this up from eBay for the show. So I traded the old copy back into GameStop, and I'll be using this new copy from now on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open this up, shall we? Again, this is a Nintendo Selects version, so this is from 2011. So this isn't that old. It's only about 8 years old, but nonetheless, it is a brand new copy, so I'm excited for that. So let's go ahead and open this up. I don't know what they have in here in terms of instructions or anything like that. I know that the Wii version of the game had a mini manual, I think, inside of the cardboard sleeve. Let's see. When we open this up, yeah, there's not a lot here. In fact, there is nothing here. When we open this up, we do have the Wii Sports disc showing the 5 sports, and we have a bunch of like warranty or safety information here. That's what's on the inside. When we look on the back of the case, play like a pro is a promise. You see some screenshots there. Play like a pro. Transform your Wii Remote controller into a baseball bat, tennis racket, bowling ball, golf club, or boxing gloves, and turn yourself into an instant sports superstar. Put yourself right in the game as a Mii character, a personalized and customizable Wii version of you. Don't feel like a pro? Pick up the skills you need in over a dozen training games, or just shoot for the best score. That's one of the cool things about this, is that it simplified a lot of the sports on the inside. Playing baseball, for example, you didn't have to worry about fielding. It was just pitching and batting, which I thought was fantastic. Boxing, there was a little bit of strategy, where it was more just punching. Tennis did use some of the motion controls, but it was fairly easy to pick up. The only sports that were more, or that were closer to their real life counterparts, were golf, which again, there's a lot of hook or slice unless you learn how to swing straight, and then bowling, which is more natural. Unfortunately, it didn't have any league aspects. It was all just going for the high score in a game. There were no 3-game series or tournaments. It was just a per game basis. Again, I can't say enough good things about Wii Sports. It is a game that I have enjoyed for years now. It's coming up on its 13th anniversary later this year. And to me, it is still just as much fun to play today as it was back when I first tried it in 2006. And then in 2009, we got a sequel. And not only did we get a sequel, but we got the introduction of a pretty neat device that made the Wii Remote even more accurate, at least in terms of movement. And what we have here, unfortunately, the box is open, but the game is not. This is Wii Sports Resort, and this is how it originally came. And as you can see here, it actually promises, and it still does have in this box, a Wii Motionplus add-on sensor inside. Again, unfortunately, the seal has been broken on the box, so we're going to open that up, but the game is still sealed, which is the important part and what I'm going to be going over here. We open up the box. First thing I do want to show you is that the Wii sleeve, or the Wii Remote Sleeve, is here. And when we take that out, and I'm not going to use this because I have Wii Remotes that have Motionplus built in, but there's actually, on the bottom, you can see the connector here. That's the Wii Motionplus right down there. So that's kind of neat. There's also the Wii Motionplus installation guide, which you really don't need in this day and age, but still it's a neat way to look back. You had to attach this piece to the bottom of your Wii Remote, and it would add extra sensitivity to your controller and make it more accurate in terms of how much you turned it, twisted it, tilted it. It was a pretty neat device. Also, I believe it was Tiger Woods 2010 or 2011, one of those two, came with Wii Motionplus as well and made the golf a lot more realistic. In addition, we also have, as we take this out here, we have... Oh, why is that bending? We'll put that right there. We have a Wii Motionplus instruction manual right here. It is in black and white. It's in grayscale. Not a lot to see here, and unfortunately, it's in so many different languages that the English part is only 2 or 3 pages. But that's what you see there. Again, by now, because most Wii remotes have the Motionplus sensor built into them, which was much more convenient, it's still a nice way to look back on what we had in 2009. And yeah, obviously it was Tiger Woods 2010 because it was that was the 2010 sports year in 2009. Okay, and now the star of the show, the thing that I've been most excited to open up, is this guy right here. This is Wii Sports Resort, which came out in 2009. I believe it was in June. Wii Sports Resort builds on the original Wii Sports formula by adding more sports while keeping a couple that were, at least one that was the most popular. And it uses the Wii Motionplus sensor for more accuracy in terms of controller response. Not to mention the fact that this now takes place in Woohoo Island, whereas Wii Sports was more just kind of a generic venue for the sports to take place in. This all takes place on one island, and that's pretty neat. And you can see here on the back of the case, Escape to Paradise is what's being promised, and it's definitely, you definitely have that island, that almost Hawaii type feel. So, escape to paradise, take a trip to a tropical resort with new sports and new ways to play, and now even more precise with the new Wii Motionplus accessory. With 12 wildly fun sports to choose from, everyone will be reaching for a controller. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at the instruction manual in just a minute, but I do want to show you here what the front looks like before you go ahead and open this up. Take the scissors to it. There we go. Make sure I don't cut my hand off. It would not be good if I did that. There we go. We're opening this up. Just like Wii Sports, I had Wii Sports Resort when I picked up a Wii again in 2015. So I traded that in this weekend because I knew I had this. I was going to be able to open it up. So let's go ahead and look at what's inside together. And I'm going to turn the disc around just so you can see. On the inside, we do have the Wii Sports Resort disc in white and blue, just like the front cover. We also have a bunch of material here on the inside cover of the game, which we'll take out and look at. And then I'll close that case. So the first thing that we'll look at is the Club Nintendo code, which we had last time for Super Mario All-Stars. Again, Club Nintendo is something that I miss a great deal. There were some really cool things that you could get, not to mention the fact that you could build up enough points by redeeming these codes so you could get some free games, which is something you really don't get that much from Nintendo anymore. So Club Nintendo, boy, we really miss you. We'd love to have you back, but that was more Satoru Iwata's thing, and that's not happening. Also, if you like Wii Sports Resort, check out these other great games. Well, let's see what we have in here. We have Mario Kart Wii, which is also a fun game. You know, I want to get the steering wheel accessory, but to be honest, I just use the Pro Controller when I play Mario Kart Wii. There's also something about the Virtual Console and the Wii channels. Unfortunately, the Wii channels don't exist anymore, which is very sad. And then on the back of the case here, we have Wii Fit, which is something that I really should get back to using. I have the balance board, and I just haven't made the time. And then, of course, we get to our instruction manual, which is a healthy size, by the way. The instruction manual is 66 pages in length, but it just like the Wii Motion Plus manual, all of the languages are in here, so it's not entirely in English. The good news is that the manual is completely in color, which is something I adore. I've always talked about my love of instruction manuals, and this is no different. And just to refresh your memory on the sports that are here, we have, let's see, we have swordplay, wakeboarding, archery, frisbee, one of my favorites, basketball, something I'd like to be able to play a bit more, power cruising, cycling, golf, which is a return from Wii Sports, table tennis, which is brand new, bowling, which is, again, my favorite sport here, canoeing, and air sports. And the instruction manual goes over the instructions for all of these in fair amount of detail. This is certainly the superior version of the two in terms of presentation, in terms of the amount of sports offered, in terms of the extras. It's a lot of fun to play. If you have a Wii and you don't have this, you're missing out. The cool thing about Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort is we're starting to see these games get more of a resurgence on YouTube in terms of Let's Plays. Some of these are more rage videos than anything else, but I've seen an increase in these videos, and it's therefore taking me back to wanting to play pretty often. So I've been playing bowling quite a bit. I've been playing basketball in this game just a little bit, although I'm still pretty bad at it. I do want to get back to archery at some point. Archery is one of the coolest sports in this particular game. I can't say enough good things about Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. I personally am not the most athletic guy. I've talked about this time and time again. One of the reasons I love sports video games is because they allow me to be something that in reality I'm not. I'm lucky that I can walk in a straight line without tripping over my own 2 feet. I cannot throw a football 50 yards. I can't really catch football that well. I can't throw a pitch 90 miles an hour. But these sports allow me to be the athlete that I always wanted to be. And with Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort, the addition of the motion controls adds a little bit of, I guess it adds just a little bit more immersion. You're doing something else. You're on your feet. You're being more physical. You're feeling like you're kind of doing it. Whereas when you're playing with just a regular controller, it's just button timing and you against the AI. Whereas in these games, there's a bit more effort that goes into doing well in these particular sports. And in terms of the Wii, it is my number 3 favorite Nintendo console behind the NES and SNES. For a bunch of reasons. The Virtual Console, and I've talked about that before. Its resurgence of the light gun game genre. I'd love to be able to get some light gun games for the Wii for this particular show. I have a couple in mind that I'm looking to get a little bit down the line. And, of course, Wii Sports Resort, some games that used motion controls, not overdoing it where you kind of had to wave your controller all over the place and look like an idiot, but games that used it more subtly and more realistically. And that's what those 2 games did. So I'm excited to go ahead and get back to playing those. Unfortunately, it's about 12:40 a.m. here on the East Coast, so that's not going to happen tonight, but it'll probably happen this week for sure as they get back to those games. If you've had any experience with Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort, and I'm willing to bet that you have, I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. You don't have to tell me if there was a time that you broke the TV by launching your Wii Remote through the TV. I think we've all been there and done some things. I know that I reached up one time when I was bowling and I hit a light fixture. I didn't break it, but I hit it. So we've all been there. But I'd love to hear about your experiences with it and just your Wii experiences in general. I'd love to do more Wii games in the future. I'm looking to try and add some of those to my pile here. But we'll be getting to some other games for the PlayStation and PS2 in future episodes as we move forward. As always, thank you very much for watching this episode and every episode of Unsealed. I really do appreciate it. These are a lot of fun to make. And until the next time, my friends, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time.